Hey guys, hope you're having a wonderful day today. And in this video, we're going to have yet another great laugh at the modern audience. Check it out over on Reddit. The post, How to Guide Young People Away from the Chud Influencers We Jerk About. So
they're trying to I wonder who they're talking about. Who could they possibly mean? Oh man. I wonder. Yeah.
So some quick context here. This is a discussion page for the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit. If you're not familiar with that subreddit, it's basically just a bunch of like modern audience
Just a
types
bunch
who
of retards.
constantly want to defend corporations and incessantly whine about gamers and things like that. Anyways, enough about their slop. Now on to their tiers. Once again, the title, How to Guide Young People Away from the Chud Influencers We Jerk About. The post going on to read, as you may know from my biography, I'm something of a suit emeritus for a renewable energy firm. Even though I am nominally retired, the board likes to call me in every once in a while to vet some interviewees in a more personal, holistic way. I'm cordial and pop culture savvy enough to catch young people off guard. It gets us unscripted responses. Those are the make or break. The higher-ups want to make sure we don't hire someone who looks good on paper, but becomes a problem once they're in the office.
Yeah,
I've
of
dealt
course.
with too much of that in my prime. It never ends well.
Duh.
Which brings me to the other day. I was on Zoom call with a promising applicant, a young man, Generation Z, strong STEM credentials, a medical internship of some sort, etc. I don't remember everything. Ever since the shock, my memory isn't what it used to be. But what concerned me was that the boy name-dropped Asmongold.
Man. How about that? They spoke the name of the Forbidden One. Man.
As if it were a thing to be proud of. I'm really at a loss here. You all know full well Asmongold is fundamentally incompatible with a decent person's values.
Obviously.
So I'm afraid
Of
I
course.
may have shown my hand. I
Yeah.
said something along the lines of, "Oh, please, not the cockroach man." But the applicant seemed genuinely confused. What's wrong with him? How do we stop this sort of thing?
I love how after that answer, he's like explaining what happened, but he never says actually what's wrong with me. There's never actually an explanation of it ever. It's always like, well, I mean, yeah, that's look at what he does. Do you see him? None of this actually happened. Come on. I think that a variation of this happened, and the variation is probably with this person having less authority and like less of a position of power than they imagine themselves as. But I can easily see something like this happening at a baseline.
I see it
Yes.
more and more these days. Part of me wants to encourage the board to vet social media more intensely, but I prefer the personal touch. Is there a way to debunk these young people in real time? So yeah, this is like peak.
I feel like if you have such a hard time proving this kind of stuff wrong and like this stuff not as an issue, like I feel like it's really easy to explain something if you have an argument that makes sense. You think it's actually somebody high up that's posts like this? No, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that work at companies that don't like the stuff that I say. Like, I'm pretty sure that, like, whenever I say stuff like, you know, companies would be promoting white power if they thought that would get them more sales, I feel like that probably makes people that work in the marketing department there mad because they think that that's not true. But it is. I mean, if they decided not to do that, the company would fire them and put them out on their ass that day. If they thought that white power would cause them to make more sales. That's just the way it is. But the truth hurts. Yeah, they hate the fact that it is like that, but it is in fact like that. And so that's what I think happens. Do people actually need to get a life? Well, it's crazy that like it's like I'm like fucking patient zero. I'm the main guy. I wouldn't name drop you during a job interview. No, it's they clearly had like, you ever had this for, like, if you've ever been in like a startup or something like that, you know that you have like there are like consecutive like interactions that you have with a person before you bring them on the team at like a high level. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't just like have an interview with them and then decide based off of that.
Modern audience corpo stuff.
Yeah, it's
right
a vibe
here.
check. Yeah,
and I especially love at the end how he's like, "Is there a way to debunk these young people in real time?" Like, what is that even supposed to mean exactly? Debunk what specifically? It sounds like he just can't stand that there are people who don't follow the modern audience slop stuff that this guy follows.
People
and he
don't like
needs to
what I'm
find,
saying.
Like, desperately try and find some way to debunk them. And I don't even really get how debunk is the proper word here. Like, the whole thing is a weird thing to say, and it doesn't really make sense to me.
It's built off of the premise that they're wrong or that I'm right and they're wrong. Which, I mean, the truth is that, like, there's not really a right and wrong way to look at every single thing. And there are a lot of cases where certain things are just, some people look at it this way, other people look at it other ways. And that's how it always is. But people don't want to think like that because it seems like people don't like that type of nuance.
So my takeaway is that these people are desperate and they don't even make sense. Anyways, the comedy doesn't end there because one of the top responses is this, and it reads, "I think a big issue is that the narrative that, quote, progressivism is the new mainstream, unquote, has taken strong root, and no young person wants to be seen as not countercultural." So let's pause already because that's not even a new thing. For plenty of years now, those viewpoints have been shoved onto people from all levels of government to massive corporations and major multinational assets.
And he's right, by the way, that it is the new mainstream, because you can't have an opinion like, if you say the stuff that I say, it's very hard for you to get sponsors and get stuff like that. Now, for me, I still get sponsors. Do you want to know why? It's because I get a lot of fucking viewers. I get a lot of fucking viewers, and I do them really well. That's the reason why. But average people, no. That's why you see so many content creators that never want to talk about controversial issues. It's not because they're afraid of, like, giving their opinion. They're afraid of losing money. That's the reason.
Firms. In other words, it's been the mainstream. So let's continue. They say, "This is further reinforced by all of the anti-woke media figures being most popular in alt media spaces like Twitch and YouTube, rather than the traditional cable news/talk show environment."
Well, wouldn't that kind of go to show a lot? I mean, because if in a free marketplace of ideas, a certain type of thinking is more prevalent, wouldn't that be an indicator that maybe it's because that type of thinking is more popular? Like, I feel like that's clearly what's going on, right? I mean, if there's this many people that are thinking this and there's this big of an audience for this type of content, maybe there's a reason for that.
I think pro-equality figures need to become masters of alt media spaces and also learn how to debate the ideas of anti-wokeness on a substantive level. Yes, the memes about Asmon being greasy are funny, but attacking the person doesn't defeat the ideas they propagate. For me, personally, one thing that most moved me away from my conservative upbringing was seeing progressive YouTubers like Cenk Uygur, Hassan Piker, Stephen Bonnell, and Ian
Bad timing.
Kaczynski debating the likes of Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, and Tim Pool. The left can meme, but they need to learn how to persuasively argue. I also don't know why this person is pretending to care about equality when their line of thinking constantly pushes equity, not equality. For example, the DEI stuff they constantly propagate and defend. The E stands for, once again, equity, not equality. To be fair, maybe this person
This cannot be real. No, there are people that think like this. No, it's extremely common.
Actually agree with the equity thing. We would need them to elaborate on that a little bit more, so I just thought it was funny, but I'm willing to give them a benefit of the doubt. Here's a response that actually got minus 24 downvotes, so people there are not happy with this one. Let's see what it says. "I understand the concern, but Asmongold's actually a pretty positive...
I can see why this got downvoted. Yep, absolutely. Easiest, yeah, of course it did.
...influence for a lot of young guys. He's real, honest, and built his platform through hard work, which makes him relatable in a world full of fake personas. He talks openly about mental health and burnout, which helps break the stigma around those topics. Plus, he encourages thinking for yourself and isn't afraid to call out toxic behavior in gaming spaces or his own chat.
I do.
people look up to him because he's authentic, not because he promotes harmful ideas, might be worth asking why this person admires him before jumping to conclusions. There could be a number of reasons for this boy. Not all are bad.
Yeah,
and
of course, this got downvoted.
the most upvoted response
Yes.
to that response is this one that says, nah, he's a chud.
Nah. Nope. Nope.
Any benefit he theoretically is doing by talking about mental health is directly counteracted by him being an awful, disgusting human being who believes other human beings are lesser for trying to actually be authentically themselves.
Man.
The only thing he's authentic about him is that, wait, what? The only thing he's authentic about him is that his outside 100% reflects what's inside. They would get a response that also got -10 downvotes saying, I find some of his gaming takes is questionable, but Zach never deserved reputation he has in certain circles.
No. The reason why people think that about me is very simple. It's because I disagree with them. It's literally that simple. And if you disagree with people like this, they will just slander you and make up things about you that aren't true in order to make you seem worse. That's it. Yeah, that's literally the entire thing.
He's a very simple and poorly educated guy, but I don't find him evil. Most of his views are even quite progressive. There are much worse influencers like Tate or Elon. There are much worse influencers like Tate or Elon. Excuse me. Response there says, he has control over his sub, channels, and editors. If he really wanted to push the progressive stuff, he would. But he allows the dumb and gamer stuff to propagate and be his main narratives. I don't think he's as bad as Tate or Elon, but he doesn't do a lot to beat the allegations.
I don't. And the reason why is because that shifts the power over to those people. Because if you build something on a premise of, I'm going to allege and accuse you of these bad things, and now you're on the back foot, and you have to now justify yourself to me, that creates a power dynamic where they're the ones who are in control. And I'm not going to play into that power dynamic at all. Because if I explain myself and express myself and I try to prove them wrong, well, proving them wrong proves that they exist and that they matter, even if they're wrong. That's it. It's exhausting. Yes. Well, it's also like, basically, this is the way that people like this gain power. And you can see how this happens with, like, for things like Black Myth Wukong. I think this is another great example. Is like Black Myth Wukong gets slandered and completely misrepresented in a malicious way. And then the journalists get together and they're like, well, how are you going to respond to these allegations? Well, nobody has an obligation to respond to a lie. Like, just because you accuse somebody of something doesn't mean that they have to somehow, like, prove that you're wrong. Like, your accusation doesn't mean anything. You're like, what you're saying doesn't matter. You're nothing. Like, why would I even think about this? And so who the fuck was slandering Wukong? IGN, among other groups. And so that's it, the ostrich method? Yeah. And if you don't acknowledge the problem, they'll have a story to latch onto. Well, like, that's basically what I'm saying. Have you stopped beating your wife? Kind of questions? Yeah, exactly. Beat allegations. Who are you? Exactly. Like, yeah, who decided that I need to beat anybody's allegations about anything that I ever did? It's crazy. Of course not.
So the allegations here are that he doesn't pander to modern audience type rhetoric. Okay. And finally, we'll take a look at this exchange where the OP is also responding. So thought this one was rather interesting. The first comment here reads, what exactly are you trying to debunk? Asmongold is simple-minded, but he is not exactly dangerous or ambitious. Maybe it's time to...
I love how people always say that I'm stupid, but everything that I usually prove or I say is going to happen ends up happening. So if I'm really stupid and I just seem to keep getting things right, then maybe you're just too smart. Yeah. Maybe you're too smart to understand what's going on. Literally making shit up, yeah. No, to me, I don't need to, like, I mean, I'm not the kind of person like, oh, I need to prove that I'm intelligent and make people think that I'm smart. I don't care if people think I'm smart or not. It doesn't matter. The point is that a lot of these things I feel like I'm pretty accurate on, right?
Hire for good. You can spend more time on not getting invited to anything.
Yeah.
To which the OP says, he may not be consciously dangerous. I've not watched him. I only know him by reputation through the circle jerk side of
So I don't know who he is at all. I've never watched any of his content, but I want to use my opinion of him that I've gotten secondhand as a criteria for removing people from a job because of what people told me that he said. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay.
this community. But oh gosh,
For sure.
I was gonna pause and comment on this after. I don't think I can make it, bro. We got to comment on this really quick. So, this self-proclaimed suit, this corpo dude, is seriously taking a circle jerk subreddit's opinion on someone.
Yeah, I feel like the people that are hiring him really should reevaluate what their decision is. Because if you're hiring somebody who's basing their opinions off of things that are only secondhand and reading Reddit threads about people, and this is who you have that's making hiring decisions, uh-oh. Uh-oh, if it's a real story, well, like what I'm saying is that obviously it's probably bullshit. I mean, or at least to some degree it's bullshit. But, I mean, it doesn't even make any sense.
Running with that unironically as if it's just like objective fact. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I haven't watched him myself. I haven't actually made
Yeah,
my
of
own
course
opinion
not.
on him based off what I've seen. No, but the circle jerk people said that he's a terrible person, so clearly they're
Obviously.
right. Clearly that person's got to be terrible. How do we debunk him? And how do we debunk people like him? It's shocking that this dude
Man.
doesn't see how terrible of a take that is. Please get some self-awareness. Oh my gosh.
Sad.
Okay,
It's
so let me
really
try getting
sad.
through this comment again now without the pause. My apologies. He may not be consciously dangerous. I have not watched him. I only know
I
him
may
by-
not be consciously dangerous, but unconsciously. Who does this? Who are these people?
by reputation through the circle jerk side of this community,
Yeah.
but he often associates with those who are. Why such a flippant and rude reply? Be a nicer human, please. There is enough vitriol in today's world.
So, be a nicer human, please, and then you referred to somebody who you don't even watch their content as a human cockroach? Okay. That's so condescending. No, yeah, no, here it is. How nice of him? Yeah.
Says the person who takes character assassination posts on one of the most toxic subreddits out there
Yeah.
as objective fact. And lastly, the other person says, I'll get right to work on being a pompous, self-appointed, nicer human. I don't see much of a difference between these associates of Asmongold and the circle jerkers. And that's the end of it. The OP never responded in that chain once again, so we'll leave it there. You know, I probably should have made a disclaimer
Really
at the beginning of
sad.
this video that you might lose some like brain cells from reading this stuff,
Yeah.
but I guess it's a little late now. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed the coverage. You know, it was funny at least. Kind of also like pathetic, but funny. If you like what
It is really sad to see people that get invested in this kind of stuff and they get so emotionally attached to it. And they get really upset whenever I say anything. And also, every single time that I say anything or I do something, there are always going to be posts of people talking about it, getting mad about it, etc. This is just the way it is now. And the reason why is because there's a lot of people that watch the show. So, like, if there's a lot of people that are watching, there's people that are upset about that, and they don't want it to be true because it means that they're losing whatever they think that they're trying to win. That's it.
say and you like the coverage and all that, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel as well.
And this is
Appreciate
the
your-
reason why I don't ever really mind a lot of this hate and criticism. Is that, I mean, sometimes it can be annoying if, like, people are literally taking something and, you know, turning it 180 degrees. But the reality is that the reason why I don't bother with it that much and it doesn't make me that frustrated is because a lot of these people are not as stupid as the original poster of this. And they will actually watch the content and look at it and see what's real and what's not. And when they do that and they see kind of, oh, wow, well, he doesn't really think that, or, oh, he thinks this actually, this will totally change the way that they view me. And so these are people who are effectively like, they might be like, how many times you guys heard in chat somebody saying like, well, I originally didn't like you at all, but like now that I, you know, been watching you more, I've started to like your stream. That's it. And I think that's what's happened to a lot of people all the time, right? Constantly people say that. And so these, all of these threads and people that are getting upset about me, all of it, everything that's happened has just made me more popular. Every drama, every controversy, every canceling, every ban, every single thing has only caused the number to go up. And that's it.
Support, and let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.
There it is.
Donald Trump has followed.
We'll get that to
hey guys,
we'll do that later. But yeah, anyway,
and in this video,
let me go pause this real quick. And my wife used to nag me about watching you. Now she's staying at home with the baby. Updates me on what you've been doing. Yeah. How does it not stress you the fuck out? If you want me to give you a genuine answer of why it doesn't stress me the fuck out, is because I think that these people are so stupid. I consider them lower life forms, and so I don't really take what they say seriously or listen to what they're saying with any degree of seriousness. I view them as like basically animals. That's really the reason why. I don't take them seriously because they're not serious people. Yeah, they're NPCs, basically. And so I get mad, and, you know, or I can get mad all I want, but it's not going to do anything. And so, yeah, you view them the same way they view you. Exactly.